The Prasna Upanishad. First question. Sukesa Bharadvaja, Saibhya Satyakama, Saryayani Gargya, Kausala Asfalayana, Bhargava Vaidrabhi, Kabayadi Katyayana were all students filled with devotion for Brahman, the Supreme Spirit. Their minds rested on Brahman, and they were in search for the highest Brahman. Once they said, "The holy Pipalada can explain all the sacred teaching," and thus thinking, they approached him, bringing as a sign of reverence fuel for the sacred fire. The sage said to them, "Remain another year in steadiness, purity, and faith. Ask then anything you desire, and if I know, I will tell you." Then the time came. Kabadi Katyayama approached the sage and said, "Master, whence come all created beings?" The sage replied, "In the beginning, the Creator longed for the joy of creation. He remained in meditation, and then came Rai, matter, and prana, life. These two, thought he, will produce beings for me. The sun is life and the moon is matter. All that has form, solid or subtle, is matter. Therefore form is matter. When the rising morning sun enters the eastern skies, then he bathes in the light all life that is in the east. And then the south and the west and the north and all the sky are illuminated by that light that gives life to all that lives. Thus rises the sun as fire, as life in its infinite variety. It was said in a verse of the Rig Veda, "The sun is rising in golden radiance, the sun of 1,000 rays in 100 regions abiding, the God omnipresent, the aim of all prayers, the light and fire supreme, the infinite life of all beings. The Lord of creation is in truth the time of the year. This has two paths, the way of the south and the way of the north. Those who worship thinking, 'We have done sacrifices and pious work,' attain only the region of the moon and return to life and death. That is why those sages who desire children and the life of family follow the path of the south. This is the path that leads to the ancestors. But those who in search of inner spirit follow the spiritual path of the north with steadiness, purity, faith, and wisdom attain the regions of the sun, and there is the ocean of life, the refuge supreme, the land of immortality, where there is no fear. From there they do not return again. It is the end of the journey. There is a verse of the Rig Veda that says, "Some speak of a father who sends rain from the heaven of the north, resting on the seasons and showing himself in 12 ways. Others speak of a sage in the heaven of the south, with a chariot of 7 wheels and 6 spokes. The day and the night are the Lord of creation. Day is life and night is matter. Those who join in love by day waste life, but they follow the good path. Those who join in love by night. The dark fortnight is indeed matter, and the bright fortnight is life. Some sages perform their rituals in the bright fortnight, but some in the time of darkness. Food is in truth the Lord of creation. From food seed is produced, and from this beings are born. those who obey the law of creation. They in turn become creators and like him produce a pair. They attain the pale regions of the moon. But in those whom there is no deceit, untruth, or bad faith, who live in steadiness, purity, and truth, theirs are the radiant regions of the sun. Second question. Then Bhargava Vaidrabhi asked, Master, what are the powers that keep the union of a being? How many keep burning the lamps of life? And which among them is supreme? The sage replied, the powers of life are space, air, fire, water, and earth, and voice, mind, the eye, and the ear. These powers light the lamps of life and say, we keep the union of this being and we are its foundation. But life, the power supreme, said to them, do not fall into delusion. It is I who in my fivefold vision keep the union of this being, and I am its foundation. But they believed him not. Life was offended and rose aloft to leave the body, and all the powers of life had to rise. And, life coming again to rest, all the powers of life had to rest. As when a queen bee arises, all the bees with her arise. And when she comes to rest again, then all again come to rest. Even so it happened to the powers of the voice, the mind, the eye, and the ear. And the powers then understood and sang in joy this song of life. Life is the fire that burns and is the sun that gives light. Life is the wind and the rain and the thunder in the sky. Life is matter and is earth. What is and what is not, and what is beyond eternity. On life all things are resting, as spokes in the center of a wheel. On life are resting the Vedas, and prayers, and warriors, and priests. To thee, resting with thy powers, O life, all beings offer adoration. As Lord of creation, thou movest in the womb of the mother, thence to be reborn. Thou art the chief bearer of gifts to the gods, the first offering made to the departed. Thou art the poetry of the seers, the truth of the ancient sages. Thou art the Rudra, the god of protection. Thou art Indra, in thy radiance, O life. As the sun that wanders in heaven, thou art Lord of heavenly lights. When the rain pours down from heaven, O life, all thy creatures rejoice, and they say, food for us shall be in abundance. Thou art pure, O life, supreme seer, Lord and consumer of all. We, the givers of what thou enjoyest, thou our Father, the breath of life. Be favorable unto us, O life, with that invisible form of thine which is in the voice, the eye and the ear, and which lives in the mind. Go not from us. In thy power is all this world, and even the third most sacred heaven. As a mother, her child protect us, O life. Give us glory and wisdom.